It's 2026. It's time to stop shooting from the hip, hoping and praying, flying by the seat of your pants, and instead use your data and your numbers to drive how you begin to level up your coaching business. So, inside this week's episode, I am going to walk you through the 5 essential metrics that I think every coach should be tracking in their business. And you definitely don't want to miss number 5. Welcome to the Best Damn Coach podcast. This is your host, Amanda. If this is the first episode you've ever tuned into, I am so excited that you found us. I'm excited for you to continue to join each week's episode. I encourage you to go ahead and hit subscribe right now so that you get notification that there are new episodes. We release full episodes Tuesday. We release short, concise episodes that are samples of coaching every Friday to help you become the best damn coach possible. And today I'm talking about a topic that's also going to help you become the best damn coach possible. It is, per the usual, it's not a very sexy topic, but I love to talk about things that other people are glazing over. They're showing you this shiny things that are cool about business, the flashy outfits, the cool branding photos. But I'm not in the business of helping you be a wanna-be profitable coach. I'm in the business of teaching you things that help you put on your big girl CEO pants and step up to the plate to become truly the best damn coach you can be. And I really look at it as 2 buckets. We as coaches should be and should continually be learning to better our coaching skill set, right? The mastery, the art and science of coaching. But also, if we're not working on the business stuff, then nobody knows you exist. You're never going to have clients and you're never going to be able to practice the coaching skills that I know you're so brilliant at. For most of us, that's what we have a better skill set around, right? It's the coaching piece, the transformational piece, but we need to be good at getting clients, understanding what it takes to run a business so we can repeat and be consistent. And today, I want you to think about it like this. If you decided to go on a weight loss journey, you would not just say, I'm going to lose weight and go out and not measure any aspects of what you're doing. You would probably be tracking your progress using a scale or using some sort of body comp technology, whether it's a scale or something at the gym. You'd probably be tracking your food. Maybe you're counting your macros, writing it in a journal, right? Because you can't improve what you don't measure. Or another great example potentially would be if you were like, I'm going to save $10,000. If you don't track it and have a system, maybe have a budget, have an app on your phone where you're tracking it, then you wouldn't know if you successfully saved $10,000. So for me, when I think of those things, for all of us, it sounds kind of insane. Of course, I would be measuring these things. And so same principles apply to business. Of course, we should be measuring things in order to successfully achieve this goal. This year inside the BDC, this is something we are doubling down on. I have introduced a weekly tracking opportunity. I'm teaching my coaches how to track already. I'm recording this right after the start of the year. We've done this a few times, and my students are already like, I have never felt such momentum. I have never had such clarity. I have never been able to really identify what I can slough off and not do versus what I need to focus on. And that's exactly why measuring is so key. I think that the problem for many of you is you're flying blind. And what this means, and I've been there. So this is me speaking because I've done this. And once I figured out how to do it differently, a lot of things began to change and my business really was shifting. And one of the things that I think is so key is that you can't fly blind. You absolutely cannot fly blind. You have, otherwise what you end up doing from my perspective is all the things and you're feeling pulled in a million different directions and you're not totally sure if which one of these things is working, where you should put your energy. And what I see all the time is coaches come to me frustrated because they feel like they are working so hard, but not really seeing the results they want. They're posting. They perceive that they're showing up. They're doing the things, but clients aren't coming. And so when I ask them basic questions like, when was the last time you talked to somebody about your coaching offer? Or how many conversations have you had last month about your coaching business? Where are you with regard to the goal that you set for the year? What's your conversion rates on calls, like sales calls? And they have no idea. They're just guessing, and guessing isn't going to get you to where you want to go. And so I think the cost of not knowing the metrics in your business, like without data, you don't really know what's working and what's not. You don't know, as I said, where to spend your energy. You aren't sure whether you have a leads problem or a conversion problem, which I'm going to get to in just a second. You don't know if you're pricing your offers correctly, and you're really not even sure what's generating revenue. At the core, what's really operating your business is honestly, it's emotion. And I don't want to dismiss emotion. Emotions are geared for resourcefulness. They teach us things. They teach us how to operate our bodies. But if we see them as a truth of what's driving business, then I think we'll forever be cyclical and trying so hard and not really producing the outcomes we want. And so this episode is devoted to help you like get in line and understand the value of data. And this is also why Best Damn Coach is a community for you. If you are serious about your business, you are ready to up level, you need some accountability to know what to measure. You want the support of a coach and a mentor who's going to get you to the next step in your business. And if that's you and you're listening to this, then I would love to chat more with you. And you can just head on over to my calendar, grab a spot that works for you at amanda-walker.com/let's chat, because I do think this is the next step for you. But those calls are only for coaches who are serious about actually making profit in their business and having a consistent roster of clients. I just want to be clear. That's the kind of coach I know you're ready for this. I'd love to talk more. So what I thought I would do with this episode is talk about what I perceive to be the 5 essential metrics that I think you should be measuring. And then I'm going to get into like the more advanced metrics at the end that I think are nice to knows or a next best step for you. So as I'm sharing, I encourage you to like just make a mental checklist. Hey, am I tracking this? No. Yes. Why not? And then this would be the homework that I would encourage you to look up. All right. Number 1. And I'm going to also talk about where to track it, how to track it at the end. By the way, I'm just going to talk about the actual metrics first. And then I'm going to talk about the tools that you could use to potentially track, which again, can be super simple to more complex. So the first thing I want you to be able to track are conversations. Conversations are any meaningful interaction you have with a potential client. For me, these things include DMs. So they don't have to be necessarily verbal conversations, but DMs where you're discussing their challenges and you've engaged and you've been able to qualify them as a potential lead. It could be coffee chats, Zoom calls. These could be virtual. These could be in person. This could be networking conversations you have at a virtual or in-person networking event. It could be that you're at just like a party with your family or your friends and you meet someone and it's a potential, client. You should be tracking that. People reaching out to you to ask about your services directly via email or maybe a sales call potentially. These for me are all what I would say are conversations. Why this matters specifically is if you think about your ecosystem, this is the top of your ecosystem. If you're not having conversations, nothing else can happen. It's literally the first domino. That's why I'm kind of talking about these, I would almost say in order of importance, but also in order of fluidity. That makes sense. Like one leads to the next. So when I talk to a client that's like on a sales call and they can't answer this question, how many conversations have you had in the last 30 days? Then A, I know they're not tracking the right things. And B, I know they're probably also not taking the action that brings clients. Just think about it. Like if you don't tell people what you do and have conversations and introduce yourself as a coach and step into the identity of running a coaching company, nobody will know you have coaching services. This includes on your own social media. Just because you're putting out content doesn't mean that people actually know you coach. This might seem really obvious to you, but it is not obvious to most, especially in the age of like influencer marketing. People are like, oh, is she trying to get me to buy her cute outfit? Oh, no, she actually creates a transformational service that I could actually pay for and get X outcome. And so for me, I conversations are step one. And I'm also going to talk about in each of these 5 metrics how often you should be tracking them. And for me, conversations should be weekly. How many conversations have I had with someone in any of these places? And this should be weekly. And a hint, this is something we build into our BDC tracker. So I help my students do this ahead for them. And what do I do with this data? I'm looking for trends. I'm looking to go, oh man, I had 0 conversations this week, but 10 last week. I got 3 new clients last week and 0 this week. What did I do differently? Or wow, like I was on a podcast 2 weeks before. I noticed this uptick in conversations. Did they come from them? So then I might go back and make sure I ask, hey, where'd you find me? So I go, oh, well, that podcast might be worth going back on, right? And so what this starts to help you see is support of reverse designing your goals. If you start to see that, man, if I have 10 conversations a week and I'm getting 2 to 3 clients, then you start to know what is key. What is a key metric, a key performance indicator, KPI, in order for your business to grow. Your KPIs might be slightly different for me. If I'm booking clients off sales calls and you're booking clients off of LinkedIn chat, then our KPIs are going to look different. But this does allow you to identify them. But some of the mistakes around conversations is you're dismissing. Like sometimes I hear coaches say, oh no, I just ran into them at the grocery store. Like, yeah, but were they an ideal fit? Yes. Okay. So don't dismiss casual conversations, or don't just track what you perceive to be perfect conversations. Forgetting to track because it seems like too simple is definitely not going to get you there. Honestly, that's the business that is usually becomes clients. I had a client say, oh, well, like that's just, I had somebody in my email recently say, I asked her, how many paying clients? And she's like, well, I have 5, but they're just all friends or family. I'm like, yes, this is how everybody's business starts. So don't dismiss those. Okay. Metric number 2. I want you to be tracking your sales calls, discovery calls, strategy calls, whatever you might call them, consult calls, enrollment calls, any conversation that's specifically about working together. You should be tracking a few things here. You should be tracking the call schedules, the calls that you actually had. And I'm going to talk about metric 3, which is the follow-up to this. And because I want you to look at, oh man, am I having 5 calls scheduled, but like a whole bunch of them are getting canceled. And so this acts as your pre-qualifier, right? I always say I hold my offers sacred, my higher ticket offers the most sacred. So I want to make sure that I get on the phone and I talk to somebody and it makes sense for them to be in that particular coaching container. And so we want to track, how many I'm having per week, where they're booking from potentially. So on that call, I typically say, oh, where did you find me? Where did you get this link? So that I can make physical and mental notes about what is working. So if they're like, oh, I just downloaded your free tutorial and you sent me a call booking link. It's like, perfect. Okay, sweet. I love knowing that was accessible to you. And what this is starting to identify, which I'll talk more about in just a moment, is where are what I say, gap opportunities, or what's the breakdown in your funnel? Is this a leads issue or a conversions issue? And if I'm not tracking these things, then I don't know actually how to diagnose your problem. Which leads me to metric number 3 to track, which is the actual conversions. So this is your conversion rate is who's actually getting on a sales call with you and becoming your client. So if you have 4 sales calls this week and 2 become your clients, then your conversion rate is 50%. And this is so powerful because for me, I know, hey, if I want to sign 1 to 2 students in the BDC a week, then I need to have at least 4 sales calls on my calendar. So then I know if I am not meeting that quota, then I go back and go, okay, I had 7 sales calls and I didn't get 2 clients. That week, it was a conversion problem. What did I do on the sales call? What did I not do? But if I go back and I look and I realize, oh, I didn't even get 4 sales calls on the calendar. It's not a conversion problem. It's a leads problem. This is absolutely critical to understand what's happening in your business. And I want to say 7 out of 10 times, it's usually a leads problem and less a conversion problem. But if you're getting consistent leads and none of them are becoming your clients, then we have to talk about conversions. You should definitely, in either of these, if you're starting to see the breakdown, then I really encourage you, to book a call and chat. Let me audit and diagnose what's happening. I want to know, I want to hear more about the leads or the conversion problem so we can figure out how to break through that and get you moving ahead as quickly as possible. Stop whittling around trying new things. Like, let's get to the heart of it. So again, you can grab a spot on my calendar at any time at amanda-walker.com/let's chat, LETSCHAT, or just head over to the show notes. There's always a link there. And then what will happen over time here with the conversion rate is you'll establish like your norm. So my personal conversion rate on average is about 60 to 65% when I get somebody on a sales call. I love that number. And so I am trying my darndest to try to get as many people onto sales calls because I have a high conversion rate there. And I love taking a quick sales call. It gets me to know the person. I get pumped about that. And so this helps me solidify and again, reverse identify what my goals need to be, what my weekly metrics need to be in order to successfully achieve the end goal. And so some of the common mistakes around this are sometimes I see people focusing on leads. I need more leads when they're having sales calls, but they're not getting people into their coaching roster. And so we need to look at what's actually happening on your sales call and your sales process and where you're dropping the ball, which there's a few specific gaps that I see. Or the other rate, you're focusing on the conversion on the back end when it's just a leads issue. You don't have enough people getting onto a sales call to even know. Or in general, like I just said, you just don't know what problem you have. And this is because you just haven't been there before. And that's why I come in and quickly I'm able to see this. Okay, moving on to metric number 4. Then you want to track your actual clients, new clients per week, active clients right now, clients renewing into a next set of coaching or another year of coaching. And then also where your clients came from. Were they a referral? Did they find you from a podcast guesting interview? Did they come to one of your workshops? So those are really actually 4 metrics within this larger umbrella of clients. So I'll say them again. How many new clients are joining you per week? I like to track that per week. Unless your goal is a monthly goal, like 2 new clients a month, then track it per month. I just like to see at a more granular level what's happening. Your current roster of active clients, your retention rate, which is how many people are renewing from, the first offer to the second offer. Side note, in the BDC, we have an 82% renewal rate, which is something I'm so proud of, which speaks to the results that my students are getting inside the BDC and just in general, the community, the energy, the accountability we create. Industry average, you guys, is less than 30%. So I tout that. I'm not trying to be vain about it. It's just really good. And it's something that we spend a lot of time in. And I want you to have that same thing because it's so much easier to focus on taking clients that already know you, trust you, value you, and keeping them in your coaching services than trying to find new people all the time. And so this metric number 4 is I would say an outcome metric. Everything leads to this. And what we want to do is like we're doing with all the other data, we look at the trends. Are you growing? Are you shrinking? Which months are you getting more clients, less clients? Do you have a year? Do you have a month in your business or a couple months where there tends to be people really looking for your services? I am also looking at where are my best clients finding me? And what is like the pattern that exists? What's again our renewal rate? And so this allows me to kind of secondarily look at lead source tracking. Where did they find me? And how do I again use that information to do more of the same? We just broke this down so granularly at the end of 2025. It was like, here's our new students in the BDC. Where did they come from? Did they come directly from the limited series podcast, the general podcast, one of our small buy offers? And then we went even more granular inside those small buy offers. I think 70% of our students came from small buy offers, which is why I teach this process and why you should definitely join the small buy offer. It's like the best strategy in your business to build trust and rapport. Every coach should have a small buy offer. But then I went even more granular. And what I realized is that most of those students were coming from the live cohorts when I launch a small buy offer. So that also told me when I teach a live, I have a higher conversion rate. And I had to take those into consideration for how I want to make adjustments in 2026. So again, I'm not taking a stab at what the hell should I be doing for my marketing promotional schedule for 2026. The data has showed me exactly what I should be doing. I did not do this in the beginning. Honestly, probably until 4 years in was I even understanding. I was flying by the seat of my pants, shooting from the hip, like many of you are doing. And it's time for that to shift. And 2026 can be wildly different from you and more simple. My business is the least complicated it has ever been because I'm able to sift through all of the minutia and really see what is working. And what I want to say, one of the common mistakes that I see around the client tracking is you don't track any of the stuff that I mentioned first, metrics 1, 2, and 3. So if you're just counting total clients, then you have no idea where they came from. You're not tracking any of the data that leads up to that. And those first 3 are really the gold. Which then goes to metric number 5, cash collected. This is the physical, actual cash that hits your bank account. I like to track this weekly personally so that I can track my behaviors back to it. And then I'm always tracking like, what did I bring in per week plus what have I brought in total per year? So I know that on average, okay, I'm bringing in like, 2K a week or 10K a week or 20, 30K a week, whatever that is for you. And again, I'm always looking for patterns. Which weeks are the strongest, months are the strongest, what activities led to cash increases. When I do a small buy offer live, then I notice an influx of cash. So again, on Fridays, so actually I lied. Fridays are kind of like the close to my actual week. On first thing on Monday mornings, I personally go in, I open up Thrivecart where I can see just like our products and services kind of distribution. And I go in and I play in the numbers, but I also have my team now collect some of those numbers for me too, so I can see some of the higher level things as well. So of all of those things, now before I get into like when you're ready to level up metrics, I want to speak to how I track it, where I track it. So as I just mentioned, my habit is Monday morning. I have essentially 4 critical tasks I do. Those 4 critical tasks I've created an actual task for on my Google Calendar. And those 4 critical tasks are my weekly KPIs. I write a letter, an announcement to my BDC community. That's just like a super like, here's where I'm at in like business. Here's how I'm feeling on this Monday, just to kind of stay connected to them. I review all of the trackers that my community has submitted. I send that to them on Friday. I give them 72 hours. I put my eyes on it, and then I do payroll. Those are my 4 tasks. I literally have a task for them so that I go in when I'm done, I hit completed, I see it crossed out on my calendar, and I feel really good about maintaining that pattern. Where I think an easy place to start to track this is in an Excel spreadsheet. It does not have to be complicated. We gift all of our students places an Excel spreadsheet to collect all of their KPIs to make it super simple. We've built out one that's awesome. When you join the BDC, you'll get access to that. This could also be in a Google Doc. This could be in your own form. For me, where I track this now is because I do use a project management software. I track it right inside monday.com. I've built out a board that is my KPIs, and I come back to it on a week by week basis. And more to come on this. I'm going to talk about my tech stack in a future episode, 1 or 2 weeks from now as well. I want to talk about some of the tech non-negotiables in your business when you're leveling up, but also like the crap you can get rid of, because I know tech can sometimes be an annoyance in business. So more to come on that. Stay tuned. That's an episode coming down the pipeline for you as well. And so that is the behavior, the pattern that I step into every week. And I believe this is part of that identity shift. If you think about the coach that's making 6 figures, they're not shooting from the hip. Right? They are looking at what's working. They're not obsessing about it. They're getting curious about it. They kind of find it even fun. And that's the feedback that I've heard from the BDC. One of my students, shout out to Ashley. She was like, this is wildly exciting. Like I had no idea I'd actually be pumped about understanding how to look at these things better and to just be curious about it, not judgmental, but curious. So let's just for a moment talk about some of the advanced metrics that I also check on a weekly basis or at least monthly basis. Some things that we're looking at are opt-ins. So we're looking at how many people joined our limited series podcast kind of funnel or our brand new YouTube tutorial, which if you haven't checked it out, you definitely should. I'll drop the link in the comments, but you can head on over to amanda-walker.com /grow your roster. It's a complete step-by-step tutorial of if I wanted to scale my coaching business to 6 figures and fill my coaching roster right now in 2026, what would I do? And it's no gatekeeping. I share my screen. I do all these things. There's a complete like roadmap that goes with it. Definitely encourage you to go give it a look if you haven't. but I'm looking at how many people are opting into that. I am then looking at more specifically when they land on that page versus when they actually opt in. I'm looking at landing page views versus conversions, because I want to know, is that page doing the job of getting them into the actual free resource? I'm also looking at the landing page views for our coaching offers, where we have 3 primary offers: Best Damn Coach, and then the Small Bite offer and the Framework Builder Lab. I'm looking at how many people are visiting that site. Again, then how many people are visiting the checkout page and how many are purchasing. Why would I be doing that? Because I want to see the gap. If tons of people are landing on the page, but nobody's actually getting to the checkout page, then it tells me that the sales page, the landing page, isn't doing its job. If they're getting to the checkout page, but they're not buying, then I have to ask myself, is the cart checkout page good enough? Is there something there? Is the offer juicy enough for them to go ahead and hit yes? Also, with my email metrics, we're definitely looking at open rates, which the industry rates are actually dropping. People are getting smarter in email marketing. So if you're seeing that trickle, I don't think you're unlike the most. I'm looking at click rates. As far as open rates, 20 to 30% is pretty good. And the larger your list size, then that does tend to shrink. Click rates, anywhere from 2 to 5% is good. It really depends on what you're inviting them to click to. And of course, other metrics I would encourage you to track are just referrals. Keep an eye on those consistently. And if you want to dive deeper into yours, like time on task. So how much time are you actually spending on revenue generating activities? And is it translating to the actual thing that you want? So I wanted to put this at the front of the year because I think this is something that you've likely been missing in your business to get to the next level of where you're wanting to go. And so tracking for me isn't just about the numbers. It is about who you are and who you're becoming. You are becoming the kind of coach who makes decisions based on data and not feeling. You're becoming the kind of coach who knows exactly what's working, the type of coach that isn't wasting time on things that don't move the needle, and the type of coach that runs a real business, not a hope and a pray hobby. And this is part of that mentality that I'm inviting you to adopt this year, that go, set, ready. You don't have to have high metrics to start. You can have zeros for a minute. And my hope is that as you see the zeros, you're like, shoot, I got to shift the behaviors. And every Friday in the BDC, they get the tracker. It was so brilliant to watch the first start to this and watch them messily dive in. And that's the power of being in community. You're not doing this alone. You're not hoping you're tracking the right things. You have a system and you have the accountability and feedback, the place to ask questions to get to support. So again, that core 5 that I would definitely encourage you to own this year: conversations, your sales calls booked, the conversions, the number of clients, the cash collected, and then all of the extra bonus flavors that I added in. So if you want to have more of a conversation so we can figure out where's your gap, I would love to hop on the phone together again. Book a time that works for you at amanda-walker.com/let's chat. And together we can figure out what is the next step. Where should your energy really be spent? I think closing out is, a health journey doesn't start when you reach your goal weight, right? It starts when you step on the scale and you're measuring, and your financial goal doesn't, your financial wealth, your wealth in general doesn't get secure just by all of a sudden money appearing in the bank. It starts when you create metrics and data to change your behaviors that help you get the financial freedom that you're looking for. And your business is the same. Your business growth doesn't start when you hit your revenue goal. It starts in all the things leading up to it. So I just really encourage you to let the old self that might be chasing shiny things, shooting from the hip, doing all those things, to level up this year and become the kind of coach who knows exactly what's working. And of course, I am here to support you along the way. So until next week, go coach 'em up.